Greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, this is episode 49 of Karls Spirits, and tonight we're going to be tasting 1792 limited edition sweet wheat. So, sweet wheat from 1792. This is also courtesy of our good friends over at Barrel 131. They are sponsoring tonight's episode, so be sure you stop in and support them as they support us. Now, let's get on to 1792 sweet wheat tonight. We've already talked a lot about 1792 way back in episode 21 as far as their history. But just to give you a very quick refresher, 1792 is produced by the Barton 1792 Distillery, which is in turn owned by spirits giant Sazerac. Sazerac is probably best known for their other commodity, which is Buffalo Trace. They're in Bardstown, Kentucky, and the Barton 1792 distillery is really named to honor the year that Kentucky became a state, 1792. And its history actually goes back to 1789. It's gone through numerous owners, numerous name changes. It's been shut down for a period of time. This has a very long history, this distillery does. Finally, when purchased by Sazerac a few years ago, they simply went by 1792 on the bottle, that is. So this expression of sweet wheat is, of course, a wheated whiskey. 1792 has issued a number of limited release bourbons over the past few years. Among those are the Groth. They've got a bottled and bond edition. They've got a single barrel. They've got a full proof. They've got, I think, a port coming out, and the sweet wheat. The sweet wheat, like I said, is a wheated bourbon. And what that means, just to remind everyone, because it's been a while since we've done one of these, is that wheat, in this case, replaces the rye in the mash bill. So you're taking out the rye that usually lends spice to the taste, and you're substituting wheat instead. Wheat tends to give, in my opinion, bourbon a little softer mouthfeel. It also tends to add more of a dusty note to bourbons, I think. So, about this particular bourbon, it is 75% corn in the glass, 15% wheat, 10% barley. According to the specs, it's been aged 8 years. 8 years, and it is bottled at 91.2 proof. So, in the glass, first of all, I doubt if you can really tell tonight, but it has a deep red amber color. It's particularly beautiful. It really is. The legs are really fat. They really are really thick legs. But they don't really stick to the glass like I really think they quite should. But nonetheless, looking at this in the glass, that's a very, very pretty pour. So let's get on to the actual tasting of this. So for the nose, there's definitely a woody note to kind of start things out. Oak really stands out. And then the next big aroma I get on the nose, and we're going to see this come through most of the tasting tonight, black cherries. I get a lot of dark black cherry aromas and flavors. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily a cough medicine dark cherry aroma, but rather that of actual real cherries that have been squished, the juice itself. So lots of cherry flavor or aroma. Let's go on to taste it. Well, the usual notes are present, vanillas and caramels, but they are definitely a backseat to the cherry flavor. I really get a lot of cherry on the taste here, just like I got it on the aroma. Looking around online, one guy even said something that he thought this tasted a lot like a cherry vanilla Coke. I don't necessarily get the licorice that suggests, but certainly the cherry and the vanilla is there, and they are very, very prominent notes. The other thing I would say This is a very soft bourbon, thanks to that wheat. It's a very soft, creamy mouthfeel. It's not particularly chewy, but it really lingers in the mouth. So the finish, it lingers a little bit, but there's actually some warmth. There's no Kentucky hug. There's very little spice, but it's just a nice, warm feeling that you get from this bourbon. And I also feel it's somewhat dry on the finish. It kind of evaporates off your taste buds. I also think there's more cherry on the finish, especially at the very back of the tongue. I really think that cherry has come through from nose to taste to finish. And so, if you're a lover of cherries, this would probably be the bourbon for you. When it's all said and done, this is actually a highly sought after and highly allocated whiskey. It currently has a somewhat annual release, usually in the fall. Usually goes very quickly, and price is typically supposed to be in the $40 range. So it's not a stupid price if you can get a hold of it. But again, it's highly allocated. So if you see a bottle and cherries are your thing, go for it. It's an interesting bourbon. And honestly, the prevalence of the cherry in the nose, taste, and finish of this is somewhat surprising to me. And I can't quite decide if I like that or not. So, this is going to be a hard rating for me. On the one hand, I love the soft and creamy liquid in this pour. On the other, the cherries are somewhat off putting to me, I think. I think. I do think this is worth a taste. So if you have an opportunity and you can get yourself a glass of the sweet wheat, definitely I would give this pour a shot. I'm going to go ahead and rate this at 4.25 Karl stars. I think the softness and the creamy mouthfeel and the dry finish really makes you want to keep drinking this. I think it's a good bourbon. The cherries, for me, keep it from being a lot higher. So that's my take on 1792 Sweet Wheat. Get yourself a pour of that if you can. Remember to thank our friends at Barrel 131. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, stay safe, peace, and happy pours.